Sarpy County continues to grow, and that has the Metro Area Planning Agency looking into the future. The agency expects the county to reach 120,000 population in the next 30 years. Where those people live and work has a major impact on the transportation system.
One of the things through previous studies that has been a potential project is a new interchange between the existing interchange at Highway 370 and the interchange at N31. And there's about a 7-mile gap there, and as a lot of that population growth and employment growth occurs in sort of western Sarpy County, we're looking at the whole transportation system in that area and really trying to understand what needs to be improved. Is an interchange warranted? And if so, where should it be and how should it interact with the rest of the roadways?
MAPA is looking into the feasibility of an I-80 interchange.
We're not looking at changes to I-80 specifically, but what we're really looking at is access to I-80. And so if you think about today, people in that western part of Sarpy County either are probably going to N31 or they're going to 370. And kind of during the AM rush hour and the PM rush hour, there's a lot of traffic in those areas. And as we're forecasting growth out to 2040 and to 2050, we see that growth, particularly at those interchange ramps, getting pretty high. And so that's really what we're sort of trying to understand is, are there other improvements that could be made, or is providing a different access point to the interstate help relieve some of that congestion at some of those other interchanges?
Just where is MAPA looking? That's
a great question. So what we're looking at right now is the whole area between those interchanges. And this is one of the aspects of the planning and environmental linkages that's really important. We can't, if we're thinking about this project ever having federal funding in it, we can't just pick a spot and say this is where we're going to build it and we're going to move forward with it. We have to look at the range of alternatives, and we have to look at really basically cost-benefit analysis, weighing the different aspects of it to come up with what they call reasonable alternatives. And so from that, we sort of winnow down from the range of all the alternatives, all the different ways that we could really solve what we call the purpose and need. And we've really tried to identify which ones make the most sense, and those get carried into the National Environmental Protection Act process, NEPA process.
The process begins wide-scoping possibilities.
Starting with the universe of alternatives and winnowing down to what makes the most sense and taking those into the federal process. And so, there's been a lot of proposals over the years about where that interchange could be, but this process kind of has to start back at square one and say, these are all of the options, and kind of go from there.
The MAPA study is ongoing, and we'll tell you more in future Papillion Now stories.